A group of students decided to celebrate graduation at the water park, thinking it would be fun, not knowing every ride hid traps. Far away, a blacksmith finished sharpening a deadly blade, rubbing it until it was razor sharp. Back at the park, a couple sneaked into a stairwell for some privacy. They whispered, laughed, and tried to relax, but a weird noise spiked the girl's nerves. Her boyfriend told her to chill and led her somewhere safer. Just as they settled, the blacksmith appeared, swinging a huge machete. The guy froze, backing up until he tumbled over a fence. The girl begged, but chaos struck, and both ended up unconscious. Hours later, students from Valley Hills rolled in for the grad party. Josh, guitarist for the Blades, came with Chad and Slim. Before the band could set up, Phil started mocking them, and his crew joined, thinking they could scare the band. Alice, the school committee head, grabbed a megaphone and roasted Phil hard, humiliating him in front of everyone. Then she hyped the crowd, promising a legendary weekend, and the students cheered before rushing to enjoy the park, swimming, and drinking, while the band prepared the stage. Conrad, the janitor, showed up to help with cables, warning the band to skip modern electronic music. Josh promised classic 80s rock, which made Conrad smile. He remembered working at the park when it opened and explained accidents had given it a bad reputation, but nothing criminal happened. He told students to watch themselves and promised help if needed. Meanwhile, Priscilla started the car wash challenge, where girls washed cars to fund a Europe trip. Students joined eagerly, scrubbing car after car. Tommy went hunting for Kimberly, who was lingering by Josh's stage. Sparks flew between her and Josh for a moment, but Tommy's jealousy interrupted, dragging her away to eat. Josh only got more determined to win her back. Elsewhere, Kimberly tried to stop a student going down a slide with a bottle, but it was too late. The kid slammed into another bottle and got hurt, showing the park's dangers were real. Priscilla took a break. Phil thought about hitting on her but got roasted by the trio again, leaving him frustrated. Slim tried to step up, but Priscilla got a call from Michael, Josh's dad, inviting her on a date. Slim's plan instantly failed. Meanwhile, 2 other students had an accident in the pool. Ambulances arrived, but Paul, the park owner, barely blinked. He told Conrad to clean it up and kept the park open, no matter what. Chaos and fun mixed together as students laughed, swam, and drank, ignoring the small disasters. Josh and the band finally got ready to play, and the crowd cheered loudly. Music, splashing water, and laughter filled the park. Hours later, Josh and his band were in the van when they saw Tommy walking past Kimberly. Chad and Slim asked Tommy to help with the sound mix for the show, and even though he didn't want to, he agreed. The 3 of them left, leaving Josh alone with Kimberly, and without thinking twice, Josh kissed his ex-girlfriend. They talked about their breakup caused by a misunderstanding and slowly started reconciling. Unbeknownst to Josh, Michael was having dinner with Priscilla in a fancy restaurant. Meanwhile, back at the park, Josh and Kimberly sneaked into a restroom for a private romantic moment. They didn't know that Phil was nearby, watching and recording everything on his phone. When night came, Josh and Kimberly decided to keep the moment a secret, especially from Tommy. Then the band started their show, and everything seemed fine, but Phil shared the video with everyone at the party. When Tommy saw it, he got furious, ran on stage, and punched Josh in the face, stopping the show. Chad tried to help Josh, but was also hit, and Slim. Tommy then tried to attack Josh again, but Priscilla appeared, told him to stop, and fired him from the park. Tommy left angrily, taking Kimberly with him briefly, but Priscilla later apologized to Josh for the chaos. Her attention then shifted to Paul, who was standing with Alice, and they discovered each other's secret affair and left. Chad helped Josh back to his room. That night, Chad was in his room when Kimberly came looking for Josh. Soon Josh arrived, and the 3 talked about what happened earlier. The night went quietly, but the same man who had attacked the couple in the park earlier returned. He placed 2 sharp blades on one of the slides, forming an X inside the tunnel, creating a deadly trap. The next morning, Michael visited the park he wanted to buy, but the mysterious man appeared, pointed a gun at him, and shot him in the foot, forcing him into the storage area. Michael crawled around looking for a way out, and when he opened a warehouse door, he found the bodies of the couple who had been attacked before. He begged for mercy, but the villain shot him again and finished him off. Nearby, Tommy kept texting Kimberly, apologizing and trying to win her back, but old Conrad showed up, got into his car, and told Tommy to let her go because she never loved him. Tommy refused to believe it and told Conrad to mind his own business. Conrad left, laughing at Tommy for being just another young man who didn't know how to handle his problems. At the same time, a boy was on the park beach with his mother, but his foot was injured. He asked her to take him home, but she said she already paid for the day and just handed him a plastic bag to wrap around his foot. He obeyed without complaining. The boy kept playing with his injured foot while his mother watched, but soon he found something surprising buried in the sand. It was an old tape player with a headset, and miraculously, it still worked. He put on the headset and started listening to the songs, lost in the music, while his mother did not care and went about her day. Meanwhile, the students in the park continued preparing for more hours of fun, unaware of the danger ahead. Old Conrad even turned the crank to release water in the toboggan run without realizing that a sharp trap had been placed inside. On the same day, the students were scheduled to compete in the toboggan race called the Sea Serpent. Groups of 3 had to go down the tunnels, and the first trio to reach the pool would win the prize. The students organized themselves, and just then Tommy arrived, wanting to take part as a customer. He tried to get in, but Phil and his friends blocked him. Seeing he could not fight them all, Tommy gave up. The trios were finally formed. One group had Josh, Kimberly, and Chad, and the other included Alice and 2 friends. As the challenge was about to start, Tommy noticed one slide leaking and feared a serious accident. He tried to climb the stairs to warn everyone, but Phil blocked him again. Paul and Priscilla explained the rules. The trio had to hold on to each other. The winners would get $500, and Conrad would act as a lifeguard below. Then Paul fired his gun to start the race. Tommy insisted there would be an accident and tried to show the damaged slide, warning that 35 years after the original crimes, history would repeat itself. Paul and Priscilla ignored him, and the trios went down the slides. Everything seemed fine at first, but Alice's trio went down the slide with a hidden trap of 2 cross blades. She was in front and was pushed into the blades, which completely destroyed her body. Minutes later, Josh, Kimberly, and Chad reached the pool first and celebrated their win, unaware of the horror on the other slide. Blood and body parts from Alice appeared, shocking everyone. Conrad fainted in horror and fell on his foot. Josh tried to climb the slide to help, but slipped on Alice's remains. The other 2 students trapped behind Alice were pushed by the water toward the sharp blades, and one of them could not resist, her body also being destroyed. The pool, once filled with fun, was now a scene of terror as screams, blood, and panic took over the park. Inside the tunnel, only one person was left, Tommy. Unluckily, he had been pushed right after Alice, and now he saw the blades and the bodies of the girls in front of him. He tried his best to hold on to the tunnel, bracing with his feet, but the water gradually carried him toward the last deadly trap. Meanwhile, Conrad recovered from the shock and yelled to Paul and Priscilla to stop the race immediately. The communicator was faulty, however, and they thought the competition was still going fine. Paul and Priscilla went down the slides with their own teams, Paul with 2 students and Priscilla with Phil and his friends. Another trio went down the 3rd slide, and tragedy struck again. Paul's team pushed him against the blades, making him another victim, while he had been too afraid to move safely. Minutes later, Josh climbed the slide from outside, found Paul, and tried to help, but Paul could not climb and slipped, ending up destroyed by the blades. After all the chaos, Conrad told Kimberly and Chad to turn off the water pipes to stop more victims, and Kimberly obeyed, going to the storage room. There, she discovered more blood and Michael's body. Josh, even though he could not save Paul, climbed the toboggan stairs to warn everyone, but Phil's friends ignored him, and one of them even went down the slide recklessly. Josh tried to warn them again, but they pushed him into a different tunnel, which luckily was safe. Conrad also tried to warn the teens despite his injured foot, but he was pushed down as well. Josh reached the pool safely, now completely red with blood, and the slide with the X-shaped blades was full of the remains of the victims. A day that should have been fun turned into a nightmare, and the tragedy at Wet Valley Water Park made headlines across the region. Months later, Josh and Kimberly were at a law office. The lawyer explained that his late father's will left him the park and fortune, intending to turn the park into a shopping center. Josh agreed and signed the papers, receiving the money, while Priscilla, as the late owner's wife, received her share too. Josh hugged her, apologizing for everything, including not being able to save her husband. Priscilla comforted him, saying it was not his fault, but her expression grew suspicious. She remembered a childhood memory at the park where she found her father dead in the pool and begged for help, but no one came. From that day, she vowed revenge, and through Michael, she executed her plan, eliminating victims to close the park forever. With the park sold and turned into a mall, Priscilla completed her revenge and even profited from it as she had planned.